Okay, this is Danny Fishman, and this is my how-to speech. First, I have Ben, used to be a baseball player. Jordan, we can call him somewhat of a baseball player. My mom, definitely not a baseball player. Greg, great guy. Another Greg, great guy. And Jamie, he used to do something called catching in baseball. Okay, so first of all, in baseball, there can be two types of pitchers, lefties or righties. I personally am a lefty. If you're a righty, basically everything I tell you, I want you to do the exact opposite of. So first, there's two ways to pitch. One is the windup and one is the stretch. The windup is when there's no runners on base and you basically go like this. You basically step back and elongate your motion towards home plate. The stretch is where there's runners on base, and during the stretch, you have to make sure that no runners are stealing, no runners are leading too far, etc. So you have to make sure no one's on base. For example, if someone was on first base there, and I was a pitcher, I'd make sure they were I'd make sure they were close enough to the base by the time I delivered to home plate. Next, there is the two-seam versus four-seam fastball, which in this case, this is a four-seam fastball where your fingers are over the seams, making four. 1, 2, 3, 4 seams. Versus the two-seam where your fingers are on the seams and it makes the ball tail. See how your fingers are only on the two seams? All right, next is the pitching motion. So basically if you're going from the windup, you go like this, and you have to look into your catcher for a sign. My friend Jamie over here, he used to be a great catcher. He was the best. He used to give me a sign for a fastball or a two-seam fastball. So in the case of a fastball, obviously I would go across the seams, and for a two-seam fastball, I would go with the seams. So next comes the pitching motion. So once you have your sign from your catcher, you come set, which is just basically literally looking at your catcher, saying you agree with the sign, and standing still. And then if you're going from the windup, you're going to take a step back first. Then you're going to turn your foot sideways towards the mound. And the biggest part of all this is the leg kick, which you can hold up as long as you want. A lot of people practice this to make sure that they're a good pitcher. And then you stride towards home plate. You always want to make sure your glove is right towards your target. So yeah, that's that. And then if you're going to go from the stretch, you need to make sure that no runners are on base. You need to make sure that the runners are not leading or trying to steal. You need to check all the runners. For example, checking first, second, third. If you want to do a pickoff move, as a lefty, you lift your leg, the runner starts moving, you step this way. If the runner does not start moving, you go this way, towards home plate, towards your catcher. After you pitch, the main point is that you need to follow through and reach your back pocket. So basically, if you're going from the windup, you come back, you go up into your leg kick, you stride, and you follow through all the way to your target, and you reach your back pocket. So after that, you end up in a fielding position. So for example, you end up in the fielding position like this, ready to field the ball. And that's how you pitch a baseball.